My YouTube 100,000 subscriber plaque finally came, so just wanted to give a quick shout out and thank you to everyone who has subscribed or watched any of my videos. I do appreciate it. Especially, I know a good chunk of you are Raiders fans, so I wanted to make sure I put a thank you at the beginning of this one in particular. Alright, so let's talk about this Las Vegas Raiders and a very disappointing performance by them, very promising performance by the Kansas City Chiefs. It obviously goes both ways. The Chiefs, in my opinion, are all the way back. I think that they're very good, and this is a very encouraging performance for Kansas City. There also was just some tough plays by the Raiders. It went both ways, and especially those early turnovers kind of really set the stage for the Chiefs being able to just dominate this one. I mean, we've seen that go the other way against Kansas City this season, right? We've seen Kansas City have those games where they, just get unlucky with some turnovers and end up losing the game because of it. Here, it goes the other way, but also, even without those turnovers, okay, it's going to be domination because the Chiefs were just awesome. The Chiefs played really well, and the Raiders made too many mistakes. So it's going to be more of a video on the Raiders' mistakes than the Chiefs are good, but we're definitely going to get some Chiefs good in there as well. So let's just get into it. So, I mean, first, we've got to talk about just some mistakes. Like this one you're going to see. This was early on in the game when there would be a fumble, scoop, and score. I'm going to show this angle. I'm trying to figure out exactly how it popped out because it didn't look like it was that much contact that caused Josh Jacobs to lose the fumble. Part of me, I did wonder this. Some guys don't like to wear long sleeves for this exact reason. They feel as though the sleeves allow the ball to pop out a little more easy. I don't know how much I can really, say that is or isn't the case, but that is something I did think about because the ball did kind of pop out easy here. But regardless, one of those fluky plays that happens to go against you. You also, of course, had this, which was technically an interception, despite the fact that that's one of the most unfortunate interceptions you'll see. This one was a catch and then fumble, and somehow Kansas City recovered. So those are never great, and it's certainly unfortunate because, you take those away, okay, maybe you don't win, but it looks a lot better in the first half than what ended up happening. I think a play like this might actually be a really good example of just some of the stuff that went wrong, especially, in this early on stuff. This is a good snapshot where when things weren't going well, this is a lot of what was happening for the Raiders offense. They're in man coverage right here. And you got to give credit to the Kansas City Chiefs. They tried all this stuff early on of like, hey, let's have, Chris Jones play defensive end. And they, kept Daniel Sorensen as sort of a safety who would often cover players, which that's not really where he's at his best. You want him kind of, like on this play, he's playing sort of a free safety role where he's not covering one specific guy. He's just going deep and can try to make a play on a ball. So basically what I'm trying to say is that they did do, I think, a very good job, in my opinion, of just, when players got, put in the right position, they've been covering very well. They've been playing very good defense as of late once they made those defensive shifts. And that's going to happen on this play, or watch what happens. So Derek Carr is going to take the snap right here. I'm pausing it about where it's 2 seconds in. It's hard to tell exactly because, I'm showing they were nice enough to show the all 22, but they always slow down the all 22 when they show it in the broadcast. Not exactly sure why they do that, but this is around 2 seconds. I looked at the real speed play to try to figure out exactly when 2 seconds hit. You see no one is open. And you look at Derek Carr, you can't even really see him here because there's, pressure. He has nowhere to move. So not only does he have no time to throw the ball, even if he did, there's nobody to throw the ball to. So it's one of those rare instances where, not having time means he can't not throw it to anybody. You don't love that. And again, I'm cherry picking a play for sure. This wasn't happening every play, but it's just a good example of showing some of the issues that the Raiders had in this one. Meanwhile, for the Raiders on defense, this was a lot of just, quite frankly, this is a really good sign for the Kansas City Chiefs offense. That's the way I view this personally. So the Raiders are going to play cover 2 zone, and this is what people crushed the Raiders for not playing enough of the first time these two teams played. So play more cover 2 zone. Well, the issue is that it just wasn't working, and part of it is Raiders not being good. Part of it is, okay, you got to stop Travis Kelce, who's been so great for his entire career against zone coverage type plays, and it was kind of weird that in previous games it wasn't working. Like, the Super Bowl, okay, you had Levante David who was kind of playing man on him a lot, but you got to pay him extra attention. You got to do stuff like that, and the Raiders not doing that is probably their biggest flaw in this zone coverage, because watch how, Kelce's going to just sort of find a soft spot, and quite frankly, Kelce should not be the guy you get beat by in this situation. If someone else beats you, okay, someone else beats you, it is what it is. However, the way I think about this thing is, for a fact fact that the, Kansas City offense, they're going to be looking towards Kelsey. Kelsey's going to be an early read. You also know Kelsey's going to find a soft spot in the zone a lot better than anyone else on the field. So make sure you're paying him the extra attention. Mahomes hits him, and they're able to methodically move down the field with an explosive play, which is not what you want to do. You're trying to keep things, underneath. Well, great. You still gave up a 19-yard play on that one, so that's not ideal for what's, pretty close to a check down type play. Also, a play like this is kind of another one of those, there's a small mistake on this play, but it turns into a huge mistake. And that's, I think, similar to how you could say about the last one, where it's not necessarily always the scheme itself that comes into a game plan. It's, in fact, a lot of times not that. It's a lot of times things like this, so it's 3rd and 17, you're expecting to get off the field right here. I mean, it's 35-3. The game's basically over anyways. But, you're still obviously trying. You still have a half of football left. It appears as though they're playing quarters coverage here, which makes sense. They're, doing what you should do against the Chiefs basically anyways, but especially now of just keeping everything in front of them. The important thing to follow here on this play is going to be Yannick Ngakoue, who at the line is going to get chipped by a tight end. So, okay, fine, no big deal. This happens all the time. A chip is basically a tight end is going to push the edge rusher, who on this play is Ngakoue, sort of towards the middle of the field, and then he runs a route. Ngakoue now has a little bit more of a difficult time trying to get around a tackle, which is typically how he likes to get to the quarterback. Like, watch, you're going to see this little bump right here. It pushes Ngakoue a little bit closer over the middle, and Ngakoue looks over and sees, hey, you look at Joe Thuney, who is the left guard on this play. He's blocking, and he's, basically stuck blocking this defensive tackle. Defensive tackle even has gotten into the offensive tackle a little bit. Meanwhile, Kansas City's center is blocking towards his right, so there's maybe a little bit of a gap where he can run through and get a straight shot to Mahomes. This is kind of like a makeshift stunt right here. It's not by design, but Ngakoue reads this and says, hey, I have a chance here. And listen, if you're doing this against Peyton Manning, I say go for it. But the issue is Mahomes is the kind of guy where he can get outside the pocket. He can move well, and you just have to know you have to keep containment, especially on a 3rd and 17. Again, 3rd and 4, maybe there's more of a logic here, but, it's going to be tough for them to get someone open anyways. Just make sure you don't give him a bunch of time to allow something to happen. So Mahomes is going to be able to read this. I mean, he reads that so well, just immediately, despite not even looking there, is able to get outside the pocket. And at this point, so I paused it right here, the way Tyreek Hill ended up getting open was he was running his route. He saw Mahomes scramble, started to run towards Mahomes, but then ran away from Mahomes, knowing Mahomes can, have the arm to still get it back there. So kind of a wild, sequence that Tyreek Hill had on this play. But really what that comes down to is it's a small mistake by the Raiders. And I'm not going to crush Ngakoue. That kind of thing happens. It does. But the reality of the situation is you make those small mistakes against Kansas City, they will eat you alive. You just got to be a little bit smarter than that. And so to me, that, it kind of falls on coaching a little bit. Because for Ngakoue, I get why in the heat of the moment, he doesn't have time to watch the play 7 times and say, oh, you shouldn't have done that. He, in the split second, has to make a decision. I don't think that's the right one. And I think the proper thing you do there is you tell all your players, hey, make sure you never give up containment against Mahomes. He will burn you. Because, if that was a design twist, which you could have done, at least a defensive tackle knows to keep containment. He didn't do that there because that wasn't his assignment. So, yeah, that's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And, of course, as always, thanks for watching.